Hi, I'm Stephen Padilla, Director of Coaching for the United States Bowling Congress. The purpose of this video is to increase knowledge and skill for adaptive and modified bowling and to promote participation in bowling from rehabilitation to tournament play. Recent studies indicate that disabled veterans who participate in adaptive sports report benefits such as less stress, reduced dependency on pain and depression medication, fewer secondary medical conditions such as diabetes or hypertension, as well as higher achievements in education and employment, and more overall independence. So now let's introduce you to the sport of bowling and some of the ways that people with disabilities can participate in our great sport. Bowling is an activity that can be enjoyed by all ages and all walks of life. Bowling is age appropriate and can be integrated as a therapeutic intervention that transfers to a lifelong activity that can allow a person with a disability to participate at many levels, from activity with friends and family to tournament play, and feel included and competitive. This video is intended to educate bowlers, therapists, proprietors, and other community members about the equipment and techniques used in adaptive bowling to provide anyone who wishes to play the great sport of bowling with an opportunity for increased participation. In the United States, the term bowling traditionally refers to 10-pin bowling. 10-pin bowling is a sport in which the bowler rolls a bowling ball down a lane towards 10 pins positioned at the other end in the shape of an equilateral triangle. A bowling lane is 60 feet long from foul line to head pin and approximately 41.5 inches wide. There's a gutter on each side of the lane. The foul line is the dark line that designates where the lane begins. The lanes are treated with oil, making the surface very slippery, which is why it's important to never cross the foul line. In addition to the lane, there's a 15-foot approach. The approach has dots and the lane has arrows that are used by the bowler as a targeting system. We got a great opportunity here to learn some information from one of the best players on the PBA, Mr. Bill O'Neill, 8-time titleist. Bill, we just want a little bit of information about targeting. We just want to know briefly, what do you use when you're out there on the lanes competing?
You know, ever since I was a little kid, I've used the arrows. But targeting is personal preference. You can use the dots, some guys use the foul line, some guys use the tracers that are further down the lane. So it's all personal preference, but it's very important to have a target line. Just like golf, you know, you see the guys on the pro golf tour, they get behind their shot and they visualize where they want the ball to go. And it's the same thing with bowling. You want to have a target line that you can look at, so you can follow through to that target, you know, to make sure you have a consistent roll down the lane every time.
Targeting is very important in our sport, and there it is from one of the top professionals, how to make your game better by using those marks on the lanes. In terms of weight, a bowling pin cannot exceed 3 pounds 10 ounces, or be less than 3 pounds 6 ounces. Pins are 4.75 inches wide at their widest point and 15 inches tall. Every bowler needs a bowling ball. There are a variety of bowling balls that may be purchased depending on the bowler's preferences. If the bowler does not have their own bowling ball, the bowling center will have bowling balls available for you to use. Each ball weighs between 6 and 16 pounds and can be no more than 27 inches in circumference. Special bowling balls are made for bowlers who have constraints in grasping or delivering the ball, which we'll discuss in more detail later on. All bowlers must wear shoes designed for bowling. If the bowler is wheelchair bound, bowling shoes are not required. If the bowler does not have their own bowling shoes, they'll be available for rent at the bowling center. A game of bowling consists of 10 frames. The object is to score points by knocking down as many pins as possible. In each of the first 9 frames, the bowler has 2 chances to throw the ball and knock down all 10 pins. If the bowler knocks down all the pins with their first ball of the frame, this is called a strike, which is denoted by an X, and the frame is over. If the bowler does not knock down all the pins on the first throw, the bowler rolls the ball a second time. If the bowler knocks down all the remaining pins on their second ball, this is called a spare, which is denoted as a slash. In the 10th frame, the bowler throws 2 balls unless the bowler bowls either a strike or a spare. If the bowler bowls a strike in the 10th frame, they get to throw 2 more balls. And if they bowl a spare, they get to throw 1 more ball. A foul occurs when part of the bowler's body encroaches or goes beyond the foul line and touches a part of the lane, equipment, or building during or after a delivery. The bowling ball is not considered a part of the bowler's body. If the bowler did not step on or go beyond the foul line, a foul is not recorded. If a wheelchair, walker, or other mechanical aid goes over the foul line and touches any part of the surface beyond the foul line during or after delivery, it is considered a foul. Delivery of the ball occurs when the ball leaves the bowler's possession and crosses the foul line onto the lane. As a general rule, delivery must be made entirely by manual means. No device may be incorporated in or affixed to the ball that detaches on delivery or is a moving part. There are, however, 2 exceptions to the general rule. A bowler may use special equipment to aid in grasping and delivering the ball if it is in place of a hand or major portion thereof, lost by amputation or otherwise. A bowler who has other deficits which do not allow for standard grasping or delivering of the ball may request permission to use special equipment. Safety and etiquette are very important when it comes to the sport of bowling. There are several places you're going to want to pay attention when you're out there on the lanes. First and foremost is going to be the foul line. It separates the lane from the approach, and you want to stay on your side of the approach and in your own lane so that everyone around you is safe. The second place you want to pay attention is the ball return. The ball return has the ball coming back after each time you've delivered it. So once it comes back, you want to make sure that you're safe around that piece of equipment as well. You also want to pay attention to lane courtesy. Lane courtesy means that while you're on your lane, there's no other bowler next to you, and that gives you the room to play and everyone around you a safe place as well. Finally, you want to make sure you're ready when it's your turn. Everybody enjoys the game a lot more when everybody's ready to play. A pusher is utilized to deliver the ball when it cannot be thrown. Pushers may be utilized in a variety of ways depending on the capacity of the person. They can be pushed with one hand or arm, two hands, both arms, stabilized in the center of the body, or connected to the body via a belt to push with the force of the body. Pushers may be utilized while standing or while sitting in a wheelchair. An assistant may be utilized to place the ball and the pusher as long as the propulsion is initiated by the bowler. If a pusher touches the lane beyond the foul line, the attempt is a foul and is scored as a 0. Ramps for adaptive bowling are utilized for those who cannot project the ball onto the lane by other means. Ramps can be modified with a switch for those who cannot initiate the roll or with a trigger release for those who may have the capacity to push down but not out. The bowler may verbally or visually verify placement of the ramp or utilize the joystick and the power wheelchair to position the ramp so the ball goes in the direction they wish. The bowler may initiate the roll of the ball with any part of their body as long as it is initiated by the bowler. There are varying types of ramps as well. Those for standing may be helpful for people with tremulous or spastic muscular disorders. A Minnesota ramp has an extra bar across the bottom which allows the wheelchair bowler to place their wheels across the bar and stabilize it while they propel the ball on the ramp. Handle grip or retractable bowling balls are equipped with a handle that retracts back into the ball once it's propelled. These balls can be utilized when a bowler cannot propel the ball with their arm or hand in a traditional manner. The handle is not intended to fit all the fingers, but rather 1 to 3 fingers and is propelled with a modified swing. This ball is ideal for someone who can stabilize at the shoulder and fingers, but who may not be able to lift at the shoulders and swing or release due to arthritis. The handle grip ball can be utilized from a wheelchair or standing position. If the bowler is unable to swing the arm, but is able to lift the ball, a modified swing and release may be employed. The handle will pull out of the ball to allow the bowler to grasp it, and once it's thrown, the handle retracts back into the ball. Blind rails are utilized by low-vision persons and are marked to identify the ideal throw line in the foul line. Blind bowlers may also rely heavily on verbal cues from assistants, but they must ultimately throw the ball on their own. The rail should be placed on the left side of the lane for right-handed bowlers and on the right side for left-handed bowlers. When both right and left-handed bowlers are playing together, it would require 2 rails on the same lane. The iCan is a chair motion operated device that releases the ball and is unique because it is attached to the wheelchair, allowing the bowler better control of the direction that the ball is thrown. Each iCan is modified to the bowler's chair specifically to meet the needs of the bowler and to meet the regulations of the USBC and AWBA. Regular bowling balls may be modified with changes to the drilling locations or by adding additional holes, but all modifications need to be reported for tournament play and meet USBC rules prior to any tournament play.
Don't throw something too light and don't throw something too heavy. I started out with an 8-pound ball and worked my way up. And of course, in my condition, with my hand the way it is, I don't have grip. So drilling the finger holes a little snug or drilling them enough so we can tape them up to make them snug help me hold on to the ball more. A wider grip, a fingertip grip, I can actually hold on to better. My partner took a soup can and said, okay, hold it around the barrel, okay? And that would be a conventional grip. You know, shake the can a little bit. Of course, with my hand, it kind of slipped out.
Limited ability.
But you hold it end to end, like fingertip, and it's got more control.
Single-arm amputees may utilize their free arm to bowl, if they're able, or utilize their prosthesis with modifications. A therapist may recommend changes to their stance, swing position, or technique in order to ensure they can compete. A ball may be propelled in a different fashion, such as thrown through the legs with a straight arm swing, or by utilizing the body and a twisting release to increase propulsion. They may also use the non-dominant arm. Double-arm amputees may, if fitted with a grasping prosthesis, use a two-handed approach to propel the ball, or they may utilize a pusher attached to the waist or shoulders depending on the bowler's preference. They may also choose to utilize a ramp or a chair, and use their feet to propel the ball. Any of these methods would require practice, but are appropriate to use. Balance for single-leg amputees will be different, so the approach and swing may be modified to meet the bowler's needs and to keep the bowler safe from falls when they're on the approach. Assuming the bowler has a prosthetic leg, the type of prosthetic may affect the kind of approach the bowler decides to use to keep them safe. Depending on whether the prosthesis is located on the dominant or non-dominant side, the bowler will have to change their center of gravity and may rely more heavily on the non-affected leg for pivot and weight bearing to reduce the risk of falls on the approach, as the surface may be slippery. Weight shifting, trunk control, and upper body strength will be important in this area. The techniques and equipment recommended for a double leg amputee vary based on whether the bowler has dual prosthesis or is utilizing a wheelchair. If a bowler is utilizing a wheelchair and demonstrates no other deficits in upper body strength and range of motion, they may require a modified technique, which could include the positioning of the chair or a swing that avoids the wheel and chair accessories like the brakes. The modifications for a standing bowler with dual prosthesis will mostly be to the center of gravity, weight shift, and to the swing technique to ensure the bowler is safe and the swing is accurate. Blind rails are often utilized for bowling as a guide for persons who are blind or who have low vision. When training or initiating teaching, you may utilize ticks or tactile marks to identify placement on the lane so the bowler knows where they need to release the ball, where the foul line is, and where they are in relation to the lane. Verbal or auditory cues may be utilized as well to help them identify their position on the lane. A blind or low vision bowler may need someone to verbally tell them which pins are knocked down so they may adjust their approach for the second ball. Low vision bowlers may be able to see a high contrast and may bowl better in a cosmic bowling setting. To assist in training with blind or low vision bowlers, or even in some tournament play, a mat or carpet with raised tactile cues may be utilized on the approach to assist the bowler to identify their location on the lane. The rail can be used in any bowling center without damaging the lanes or interfering with the operation of automatic bowling equipment. There are 12-foot and 15-foot versions of the blind rails. The rails are placed alongside the approach and extend back from the foul line toward the seating area. In order to use a blind rail, a bowler slides one hand on the rail and utilizes their other hand to release the ball. A bowler can determine whether the ball is being released in the center of the lane or near one edge, since the guide rail is positioned to run straight along the first board outside the width of the lane. A blind cane can also be utilized if the person chooses not to utilize the blind rail. In this case, the bowler would hold the cane with one hand, the ball with the other. Often bowlers will find that the cane hits the foul line too early on the approach to appropriately release the ball. If this is the case, the bowler can modify the length of their approach accordingly. For more information, contact the American Blind Bowling Association at www.abba1951.org. Persons with poor muscular control due to neurological disorders may require the use of an assistive walking device, such as a walker or a cane, to maintain their balance and bowl from a standing position. If the bowler needs to bowl from a seated position, they may use a one-handed or two-handed release to propel the ball, or any of the assistive devices mentioned earlier. Specific modifications and recommendations may need to be adapted to the bowler. If a bowler decides to use an assistive walking device, they can use an assistant to hand them the ball, then use one hand to propel the ball from a standing position. Disorders which cause significant spasms or tremors may require the use of a ramp to ensure that the bowler can steer the ball appropriately. Our next topic is wheelchair bowling. And before we get started, we'd like to introduce you to some folks from the American Wheelchair Bowling Association who are going to help us demonstrate wheelchair bowling techniques.
Hi, I'm Deborah Boget, and I'm here today with Bree Jansen, and we're here on behalf of the Bowlers to Veterans Link. Today we will be showing you the different pieces of adaptive bowling sports equipment, as well as the different bowling techniques that can be used for adaptive bowling. Today, we have with us also the gentleman from the American Wheelchair Bowling Association. Gary, could you please introduce to us who you have here?
I'd be happy to, thank you. I'm Gary Wright, I'm the Secretary of the American Wheelchair Bowling Association. To my far left is Wayne Weber out of Tampa, Florida. To my immediate left is Eddie Hutchins, incoming Vice Chairman of the American Wheelchair Bowling Association. To my immediate right is Kenneth Hill out of Chicago, Illinois. Kenneth oversees all of our public relations.
Thank you, Gary, and thank you to the American Wheelchair Bowling Association for its partnership today with the Bowlers to Veterans Link.
A chair is like a good pair of shoes for an individual. You'll see Wayne's chair here is quite a bit different than my chair.
Sure.
Wayne has an arm on his chair that he can turn and remove as he bowls. That way he has his free mobility of his arm out here on his right side.
Sure.
In addition to the back of Wayne's chair versus the back of mine and many of the other bowlers, it's low, about halfway up the back, versus Wayne's comes in just below his shoulders. That gives him the stability he needs. I'm a paraplegic.
Okay.
Wayne's a quadriplegic,
Right.
which means that control and so forth for me is much easier than this gentleman here. So he has a strap that goes around his knees that holds his knees in place, in addition to gives him a place to set the ball so that the ball doesn't roll out of his lap when he moves to the lanes.
Sure.
When I throw the ball, I reach around and hook my arm on the chair
Sure.
and throw the ball because I don't have grip in my hands.
Right.
Paraplegics will, go ahead, hang on to their rim.
Yeah, what I'll do is come around and I will grab the right side.
Yes.
I'm a left-hander, so I'm the only person in this room that throws from the proper side of their body and throws a bowling ball.
Yeah.
But I'll grab the right wheel and bring it through. That gives me the total ability to take the 15-pounder, take it back here without falling out of the chair. So it comes right up back here and gives me the balance that I need. For those bowlers out there that are just beginning, if the chair is good for you at home, go to the bowling center and try it in that chair. You don't have to go out and buy a $2,000 wheelchair to come bowling. The most important thing of a chair is to make sure the brakes are extremely stable and up to date. Because if a chair moves, it doesn't matter what size chair you're in. Once you bring the ball through the shot, that chair is going to move.
Sure.
You need to make sure that it's stabilized.
Absolutely. A soft or hard wedge may be placed between the bowling ball or arm and the wheelchair to assist in direction and propulsion when using a standard wheelchair to avoid damage to the bowler's hand. We recommend a low-grade wedge that is 2 inches or less. However, a larger wedge with a modified position may benefit a player with less shoulder range of motion. Our next topic is a bowling ball holder ring, which can be used to assist in carrying the bowling ball from the ball return to the foul line. This device is portable and attaches onto the wheelchair so that the ball may be placed in the ring and carried to the foul line. As part of the VA rehabilitation program, VA centers in Florida are being equipped with carpet bowling lane kits. These are the same kits that are used by troops deployed on active duty in Iraq, Afghanistan, Kuwait, Korea, and a host of other countries. These kits have been used by troops on rooftops in Baghdad, along military airstrips, on board ships in the Gulf, and in dozens of camps in the Iraqi desert. The kit consists of a 26-foot long carpet bowling lane, a 5-pound rubberized bowling ball, and lightweight plastic bowling pins. The lanes are designed to help the bowler work on the development of bowling skills. The lanes have locator dots and arrows just like real bowling lanes to assist in teaching proper delivery and bowling technique. Wii is an interactive game from Nintendo that can simulate the sport of bowling. It can be played from a standing, sitting, or lying position and can be utilized for league play. Wii bowling leagues allow all bowlers to participate, including those who may not be able to access a bowling alley. Wii bowling may be adapted for all disabilities, and leagues may institute rules specific to the acceptable positions of the bowler or the disability of the bowler, which may include standing, sitting, wheelchair, walker, or cane users. The United States Bowling Congress is the entity that regulates the sport of bowling in the United States. If a bowler wants to participate in a certified league or tournament, all USBC rules must be followed. The USBC has adopted rules that allow for adaptive bowling. A delivery of a ball is made when the ball leaves the player's possession and crosses the foul line into playing territory. As a general rule, a delivery must be made entirely by manual means. No device may be incorporated in or affixed to the ball that attaches on delivery or is a moving part during delivery. There are, however, exceptions to the general rule for adaptive bowlers. A player may use special equipment to aid in grasping and delivering the ball if it is in place of a hand or limb lost due to amputation or other injury. A player may, if granted permission by USBC headquarters and each league or tournament in which the player participates, alternate right and left-handed delivery and/or use special equipment to aid in grasping and delivering the ball. Permission may be granted if the following is submitted to USBC headquarters. 1. A doctor's certificate describing the disability and the reason to alternate right and left-handed delivery and/or recommending the aid. 2. A description, drawing, or model of the aid. Unless the individual is unable to impart force or impetus to the ball, the aid cannot incorporate a mechanical device with moving parts that would impart force or impetus to the ball. When authorization is given, USBC headquarters will provide the player with a special card stating that alternating right and left-handed delivery and/or the use of the specific mechanical aid has been approved. If permission is denied, the player has the right to appeal to the USBC Legal Committee. However, permission may be withdrawn for cause. To contact the USBC Rules Department, visit bowl.com or call 1-800-514-2695. A player unable to execute a delivery in accordance with general USBC rules may bowl in USBC competition provided the league's board of directors or tournament management 1. Authorizes such participation. 2. Establishes specific provisions to govern such participation. The average established by the player is not acceptable in another league or tournament unless allowed by the rule of that league or tournament. The bowler is eligible for all USBC awards. A helper may assist the bowler in positioning the ball with a pusher stick. However, once the ball has been positioned, the helper must move himself or herself away from the bowler before the bowler pushes the ball. The helper may not hold or touch the bowler after the ball has been put in place. If the stick goes over the foul line or touches any part of the surface beyond the foul line during or after the delivery, it is considered a foul. The ball rolling over the foul line is not considered a foul. If a bowler is bowling from a wheelchair, no aid, device, mechanism, or person is allowed to steady the wheelchair for the bowler. No part of the wheelchair, except the wheels, may touch the approach. No feet, hands, brace supports, counterweights, or additional wheels can make contact with the floor. Each bowler must use his or her own force or momentum to deliver the ball. Electric chair users cannot use the force or momentum of the motor to aid in the delivery of the ball. If a wheelchair goes over the foul line or touches any part of the surface beyond the foul line during or after delivery, it is considered a foul. Throughout the year, there are numerous bowling tournaments available to veterans to participate in. These include the following. Tournaments sponsored by the Department of Veterans Affairs include National Veterans Golden Age Games, which is generally held in late spring. It's open to all veterans age 55 and older who receive health care from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. The National Veterans Wheelchair Games are held every summer. Participation is open to veterans having spinal cord injuries, amputations, multiple sclerosis, or other neurological conditions who require a wheelchair for athletic competition and who are eligible to receive care at a VA medical facility. National Veterans Training Exposure Experience Tournament is hosted annually by the Iowa City VA healthcare system. Participation is open to U.S. military veterans with visual impairments, amputations, traumatic brain injuries, psychological trauma, certain neurological conditions, spinal cord injuries, and other disabilities. BVL National Bowling Tournament. The BVL conducts an annual write-in tournament each spring. The event is open to veterans receiving care at VA hospitals, outpatient clinics, and vet centers. 5-person teams roll a total of 45 games, which are then submitted to the Bowlers to Veterans link. There are separate divisions for blind, wheelchair, and senior veterans. There is also a Wii Bowling division. The top 3 teams in each division are awarded trophies at a special ceremony. In addition, here are some other organizations that sponsor adaptive bowling tournaments. American Wheelchair Bowling Association, Paralyzed Veterans of America, American Blind Bowling Association.
Hello, my name is John Laspina. I am the chairman of the Bowlers to Veterans Link, known within the industry as BVL. We do wonderful things for our members who have served, people who have kept us free all these years. And this project, the Adaptive Bowling Project, is one of them. You're about to see a video of the history of BVL. We've been around 1 year longer than the VA itself, Bowlers have been generous, bowling proprietors and all the companies in the industry have come together to make BVL what it is. Couldn't happen though without the wonderful people within the system that help our veterans, a therapist who will be utilizing the adaptive program that's been developed this year. And with that goes our gratitude for your service and all that you've done for America. Thank you.
Seems like it was a century ago, and seems like it was just yesterday. Since then, we've engaged in the longest period of continuous fighting in our nation's history. Nearly 3 in 10 disabled veterans report that their disability has kept them from finding work after their return from distant battlefields. And veterans who served in combat are 3 times as likely to be disabled as those who did not. These are the brave men and women that Bowlers to Veterans Link has served for almost 75 years. BVL was launched in 1942. Its first campaign during the Second World War raised money to purchase medical evacuation planes to ferry the wounded home from battlefields of Europe. For the founders of BVL, recognizing the importance of recreation therapy was a natural. They understood the value of an afternoon bowling outing with friends. Camaraderie, fun, fitness, and friendship are all built into the sport. After all, no one goes bowling alone. Since its first campaign, BVL has evolved to become a leader in providing recreational programs and services for those who have served and are serving our country. Today, with the numbers of severely injured veterans returning home from distant battlefields, everyday life has become filled with barriers. BVL supports national recreational events, such as the National Veterans Wheelchair Games and Creative Arts Festival, the tours of recreation to VA hospitals, grants to individual VA hospitals for items from sports equipment to art supplies, from books to musical instruments, and even lane kits for those of our men and women serving today. One much anticipated program is the annual BVL VA's Veterans Bowling Tournament. Kicked off by then President Harry Truman 7 decades ago, the tournament is the source of much pride amongst participating veterans. Participation in recreation activities can be life-changing, gifts of freedom, and are possible thanks to our donors and supporters. But we need your help in continuing this important mission. Our disabled veterans want it and need it, and most importantly, deserve it. Please visit bowlforveterans.org and help make a disabled veteran's life better. They'd do the same for you. In fact, they already have.
On behalf of the Bowlers to Veterans Link, we would like to thank the Bowling Proprietors Association of America and the United States Bowling Congress for its assistance in the production of this video today. If you're ever in Arlington, Texas, be sure to stop by and see the International Bowling Training and Research Center and stop by and visit the International Bowling Hall of Fame. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed this video.